Yeah, so I've flown the Step a few times now, and today was a really good day. Good thermals and some quite choppy conditions. There was a good test. It definitely is a high B glider and does fit really nicely in the range between the Leaf and the Tasca. They're kind of a high B version of the Tasca. Definitely feels related to me and in a really good way. I really like the Tasca. I think it climbs really well, and they've kept that with a Step. Seems to climb really well from what I can see. It feels very reassuring. It's not moving around, doesn't pitch about. Yeah. It's quite steady above your head, and it's the feedback is it's definitely not active. It doesn't sort of talk at you lots and jump around. It's quite mellow in its feeling, but at the same time it gives you good feedback. They've managed to make it, although it feels very easy and you don't have to keep holding it back. Yeah. You can let it go. You can just, in fact I think it flies better like that. It's just let your hands up, let it fly. It doesn't have a tendency to want to go in front of you and need to be held back. It's kind of let it fly, and it then flies really nicely like that. Yeah. But both Nancy are finding we can really turn it tightly. When we're flying with other gliders, sometimes with gliders you feel like, come on, round you go. With this, it's kind of like, I'm feeling that about the other people. It's like, come on, come on, you can, come on, round you. Quite often I was able to turn safely inside other people because they seem to be just doing wider turns. I think that was a little bit because the thermals were tending to push you out of them a bit with the wind. So particularly important with those windy thermals, it's really important to push forward into them, get right to the good bit and then turn quickly. And if you don't, you just get pushed out the side. So with a Step, I felt like I could really turn right on the bit I wanted to, which was nice. I like that.
Yeah,
how were you finding that?
I certainly found the same. Yeah, it was turning really beautifully, and I could actually get it to do a nice sort of spirally type turn if I wanted to as well, which was actually quite nice when I was thermaling and chasing you around, chasing Greg around, and it was like, I could actually just pull a little bit more and get the nice bank on the turn, and that was it was lovely.
So it is banking. It's not a very flat turn. It sort of lets you.
Well, you can
lets you hook.
Yeah.
In the corner if you want to.
Seems to be able to do both.
It doesn't feel. It's not rolly, but it's not very flat either. Yeah. So they've got a balance between those things that you can. Like I felt as well when I was going into some of the thermals, there were some quite good bits. There was like 3 meters a second today, and also quite punchy. It's like from not lift to spoof. There's the good bit, and you needed to turn quickly on it, and I could do that. I could pull the brake round, and it responded and went round, which is really nice. Rather than, some gliders might sort of hang back, or you try and push them and they just go into a diving turn. The Step turns really nicely and kept efficient as well, so that was good.
I had a really great climb out with you guys, and that was
that was lovely.
Really quite a special thermal. So I found that it was climbing really well, and I was keeping up with other gliders really well, and then certainly when on glide I flew with a Phantom, and I was on bar. I was flying the small at the higher end of it, so I checked my all up with everything.
Yeah, you're right at the top of the weight range,
right at the top on the small, so with the Delight 3, etc. So flying it. So it was interesting that I was as high, but still performing and climbing really well. And certainly, I had the speed. The speed was good. But I didn't feel like I was losing out on performance. I wouldn't have said that I was right at the top on it. So
So an interesting. I was flying the medium, and I'm flying it a bit above the middle of the weight range, and it doesn't feel like that feels fine on it as well. And I flew the small, also similarly loaded, and they seem to cope well with being in different parts of the weight range. You know, you get the expected differences, but it seemed to be, you know, sometimes you change your place in the weight range on the glider, and thanks for the shade. And yeah, they don't cope with it so well. So it did seem to cope with that really nicely. There were points where I was tightening up hard. I was thinking, oh, how's it going to behave here? And it just behaved really nicely.
Yeah, no, and I certainly felt like I got a good bank on the turns, but I didn't feel like I was losing out, but I could feel like, I wanted to tighten up, and it would give me that nice wingtip edge I was looking at, thinking, yeah, I'm going round and I'm going up nicely, but yeah, getting that really nice bank on the glider.
Where would you pitch it, Nancy? Like, what sort of pilot? Who's your ideal pilot for this?
Somebody definitely wanting a high B, so it's got the performance, but it's also got that reassurance about it, reassuring feel. So it's not what I call a chatty wing. So you know, if I compare it to other wings that I know that are a bit more chatty, it's got that reassuring feel, but not dull and boring. I don't mean dull and boring reassuring. I mean just sort of comfortable. And so somebody looking for reassurance, but with very good performance.
Well, and I'd place the step in the high B bracket. I'd put the step kind of in the middle of that high B bracket in terms of pilot demands and sort of also feedback and how comfortable it is. It's a very comfortable glider, but actually the performance feels like it's very good in the class.
Yeah.
So I guess only when somebody's really looking for a very dynamic glider that gives lots of feedback and is, you know, they want something with lots of energy, you know, then they might want to look at the C class. However, in cross countries, I'm sure the step is going to be a very capable glider for doing great cross country flights. I'm really looking forward to doing some very nice cross country flights on it. I'm really enjoying flying it. It's got a really nice feel about it. It's great to have. I mean, some pilots say, oh, you know, they want gliders that move and jump around a lot. I like a glider that gives feedback, but I don't want something that just jumps and moves around a lot.
Yeah.
You know, that just adds to your kind of workload. You know, and when you're flying in strong conditions, really active stuff, you don't really want that. You know, so, and the step's very nice for that. I think they've done I can see they're thinking about pilots who are flying in the Alps as well as in the flat. They've got the sink rate for flying in the flatlands. It's got that climb rate, but it's got the comfort for when you're flying in the Alps. It's not a glider that's leaping and jumping around.
Ground handling, very easy. Actually, it's got a nice progressive launch, but it doesn't do that whipping up where it catches you out and you sort of think, because we were definitely launching in some thermic conditions, the wind was coming through, and you sort of expecting that you might have that situation where the glider overflies you and but actually
you get plucked.
Yes.
Yeah.
No plucking today. So yeah, it came up really progressively. It's almost slightly, it stops just behind and then it nudges in, but just a little bit of control. It definitely requires pilot input just to keep it steady, but it was very easy on the launch, and felt very comfortable with it as well. So
did you feel like in a really light wind you need to make sure you just hold on to the risers just a little bit to make sure it comes up?
Just
past,
holding on.
and comes right up.
Extra,
so that, but in the stronger conditions it was definitely nice that it sort of doesn't whip. Doesn't have any whip in it. It comes up and it's easy to control.
Well, I love the wing for the handling, and the performance was certainly keeping me happy, and I had a great first cross-country flight on it, so that gives me a very good feeling of the wing, and it's fun and performing well and reassuring at the same time.
For pilots really looking to get into cross-country flying and they're stepping up, pardon the pun, from a low B and wanting to step up into the B class, or they're in the B class already and they're just looking for a glider that climbs really well and but has a very comfortable feeling, that's got very agile handling. That's the step.